Alright folks, time to do my picks for UFC 194 Aldo versus McGregor. And I'm going to try to make this a little bit quicker than normal. I'm just going to stick to the 5 main card matchups. So if you're interested in who's going to win between Warley Alves and Colby Covington, you know what, I really can't help you there. I can't help you with life in general. But yeah, at least, the top 5. Okay, I'll do top 6 because we got Uriah Faber fighting, who for some reason isn't on the main card. Makes little sense to me. Alright, so obviously our main event is going to be Jose Aldo. When did he lose the junior? Like, at what point in his career? Was it when he made the leap from WEC to UFC that became official? I'm just trying to figure that one out. But, taking on Conor McGregor, undefeated in UFC competition. Just looking at the stats here, 25-1 for Jose Aldo. I think his last loss was 2005. He's undefeated under the Zuffa banner. 18-2 record for McGregor. Average fight time 14 minutes for Aldo. 6:28 for McGregor. Height 2-inch reach advantage for McGregor. Weight is pretty much unimportant. Reach advantage favors Conor McGregor. He's 74 inches compared to Aldo's 7 inches, so that might make a huge impact on the striking game. Orthodox against the Southpaw. Aldo, not Aldi. He's not a value price convenience store. Aldo is the orthodox striker. Southpaw for McGregor. Something else you need to take into consideration. And McGregor is 2 years younger than Aldo. So looking just at the striking here, Aldo landing 3.29 significant strikes per minute compared to McGregor, who's landing 5.44. Striking accuracy pretty much dead even. Strikes absorbed per minute, Aldo clearly the better defensive fighter. He's getting 1.94. McGregor's eating about 3 per minute. And then as far as defense, 72% favors Aldo, 64% against McGregor. Takedowns, McGregor leads this one. He's getting 1.93 per 15-minute fight, whereas Aldo is getting 0.93. And remember, Aldo does have longer average fight time, so it's actually way, way better sounding for McGregor than it may appear at first. Takedown accuracy, once again, 83% for McGregor, only 72% for Aldo. But takedown defense favors Aldo, 91% versus 66%. And submissions, don't even think about them. That's not even remotely relevant in this fight. So both these guys, 5 fight winning streaks, actually longer than that, but just going back. So the guys haven't tasted defeat in a long, long time. So yeah, look at this matchup. This is probably the hardest fight I've had to pick all year because, you look at just how dynamic of a striker Conor McGregor is, and the fact that he has the reach advantage and he does hit from the left, that has me thinking, that maybe like around the second or third round he can clip Aldo. But then again, Aldo, his striking defense has been so good. He's a consummate counter puncher. His leg kicks keep the dudes at ranges. And McGregor, that's kind of his weakness. He gets in there and, he wants to brawl. And that might just come back to haunt him. Takedown, McGregor is better, but I think that's kind of negated by Aldo's defense. So submission's not a factor. Oh, goodness. Okay, the thing about this, and what makes it a very interesting matchup, is that the way Aldo fights, he's a champion fighter. He doesn't go in there and say, I'm going to knock you out in the second round. He knows he can drag it out for 5 rounds. He can just outpoint you. He can outclass you. He can make you tired. He can just make you look really lethargic. Whereas McGregor goes in there with guns blazing. He's like the ultimate warrior, just shaking the ropes. I'm going to punch you. I'll make this over in 5 minutes. And he really hasn't had much of a difficulty so far in the UFC. But you go back and watch some of his early UFC matches, like the ones where he was like fighting in Boston, where he couldn't get the knockout, where he was having to kind of, play a conservative game, be strategic, and he looked pretty lackluster in that, Whereas Aldo, he's just very consummate. He controls the tempo, excellent octagon control. So for this fight, I can see it going both ways. It's tough. McGregor can clip him, but I think Aldo's defense is just way too good. I think what's going to end up happening is it's going to be very, very, very close for the first 2 rounds. You might give both to Conor, you might give both to Aldo, I don't know. But I think this fight does go the full 5 rounds, and I think from round 3, round 4, and round 5, the longer this fight drags on, the longer it favors Aldo, and I think he's going to have the conservative strategy, and he's going to end up winning this one by split decision. So McGregor's not going to get beat, a la Ronda Rousey a couple weeks ago, but I do think Aldo is going to come out looking like a better overall fighter. Apologies, marketing department for UFC. All right, so going back, that's our main events. Let's take a look at the co-main event. It's a pretty good undercard. We haven't had a really good-looking UFC undercard in quite some time. So Chris Weidman taking on Luke Rockhold. This actually is probably just as hard to pick as the main event. Okay, 13-0 for Weidman, 14-2 for Rockhold. Average fight time Weidman 9 minutes, and for Luke Rockhold it's only 6 minutes. 1 inch height advantage for Rockhold, but Weidman does have the 1 inch reach advantage. Orthodox striker for Weidman. Rockhold is the left-hander, and pretty much the same age, like a month's difference. Doesn't really matter. Strikes landed per minute, almost dead even, 3.5 basically. Striking accuracy, dead even, 43%. Striking defense, pretty much dead even, 61 to 64%, favoring Rockhold. Strikes absorbed per minute, slight advantage for Rockhold, only 1.85 compared to 2.18 for Weidman. But here's where things look a little different. Grappling, Weidman, 3.75 takedowns per 15-minute fight compared to 0.35 for Rockhold. Takedown accuracy, 56% versus 33%, favoring Weidman. Takedown defense, 100% for Weidman, 70% for Rockhold. Submission average, 1.2 for Weidman, 1.6 for Rockhold. So yeah, all that taken into consideration, I think it's going to go the distance. I think it's going to be close. I think Rockhold might control the tempo for the first round, but second round, that's when Weidman starts wrestling, and he's effective at that. And I think he easily wins the second round, and I think he absolutely dominates the third round and almost finishes Rockhold on the ground. So, yeah, I got to go with Weidman. It's striking should be fun, but when you have a guy that's that good at grappling versus a guy that's not that good at grappling, you have to go with the grappler, especially when the other statistics are so similar. All right, we got Jacare Souza taking on Yoel Romero. So both these guys have been in the UFC for a long time, been waiting for a championship shot forever. So this one should be good. 23-3-0 and 1 no contest for Jacare. Romero's 10-1, 8.57 average fight time for Jacare, 10.34 for Romero. No difference in height, no difference in weight. Reach advantage negligible. Once again, Jacare is the orthodox striker. Yoel Romero is a southpaw, and about a 2 years age. And both of these guys are pretty old. They were born in 79, 77 respectively. So strikes landed per minute favors Romero, 3.51 to 2.20. Striking accuracy once again favors Romero, 55% to 42%. Strikes absorbed per minute actually favors Jacare, 1.94 to 2.13. And defense, pretty much dead even, 66-65%. Takedown average favors Jacare, 3.72 versus 2.33 for Romero. Takedown accuracy once again favors Jacare, 47% to 36%. Takedown defense is leaning towards Romero, 71% to 54%. But the big one, and this is where I think you really got to look at things, 2.1% submission attempted per fight. 15-minute fight, that is, for Jacare, and absolutely nothing for Romero. Romero is a striker, and Jacare obviously is one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighters on the planet. He will take you down, and he will submit you. But he can also knock your head off, so that thing that makes it more dynamic. So all that to say, Romero, he's looked really good, and I kind of actually want him to win just so he can do like another really, really awkward, like hardcore Christian conservative like promo in broken English afterwards, because that is hilarious. But all that to say, I think Jacare is going to win this one. I think he's just a better fighter overall. He's got more knockout power from what I've seen in previous fights. And of course, once again, when you have really, really similar striking, you got to go with the grappling and the submissions. The fact this dude can do some really, really incredible things on the ground just gives the edge to me. So I think we end up seeing Jacare win this one by late third round submission. And I don't know, do I have to pick the submission? Okay, I'll go with the Anaconda choke. And we haven't seen one of those in a while. All right, so if you're excited about seeing Demian Maia, I didn't even know he's actually back in the UFC. He'll be taking on Gunnar Nelson in one of the curtain jerkers. And stats on that one: 21-6 for Maia, 14-1-1 for Nelson. 5-time 11:52, 10:09. Maia, longer tenured fighter. 6.1, 6'1" height for Maia, 5'11" for Nelson. Dead even reach. Southpaw is my switch for Nelson. And there is actually an 11-year age difference. So Nelson is the junior by a decade plus. Strikes landed per minute favors Nelson, 2.28, 179. Striking accuracy also favors Nelson, 55% to 42%. Strikes absorbed per minute, 4.01 for Nelson, 1.77 for Maia. Goodness. And 62% defense favors Maia, over 55% for Nelson. Takedown 3 per fight for Maia versus 1.48 for Nelson. 54% takedown accuracy for Nelson compared to 31% for Maia. Takedown defense, though, once again favors Maia, 67% to 50% against Nelson. And dead even on submissions, 1.2 attempted per 15-minute fight. So to me, obviously looking at this, the big number that stands out to me is 4.01 significant strikes absorbed per minute for Gunnar Nelson, which means he's a guy that's going to go in there and bang, bang, bang. And Demian Maia is not a fighter who's known to bang, bang, bang. I mean, he's a guy like Aldo. He's very strategic. But I'm not really sure what's going to happen here because I can see it kind of going both ways. But I always kind of lean more conservative. I think Maia is certainly the cagier veteran. He's got more experience. And I think he's going to do just enough to kind of avoid getting clipped in the first round. That might actually go to Nelson as being the aggressor. But I think second round and third round, he just controls it. And he takes him down. And he makes it a very strategic, if not a boring fight, but it ends up giving him the contest. I think Maia wins this one unanimous decision. So probably not going to be the most exciting fight in the world, but you never know. All right, and the opening event for the pay-per-view portion, Max Holloway taking on Jeremy Stephens. 14-3 record for Holloway, 24-11 record for Stephens. 10:55 to 12:14, so Stephens has a longer average fight time. Considerable height advantage for Holloway, 5'11 to 5'8. But strangely enough, Stephens has the reach advantage. Both guys are orthodox, and Max Holloway is younger. Holloway landing 5.67 significant strikes per minute, whereas Stephens is doing 2.75. Striking accuracy about dead even. Strikes absorbed, not surprisingly, we're seeing Holloway absorb 3.77 versus 2.48 for Stephens. And defense, pretty much negligible. Takedown average really leans towards Stephens. He's got 1.58 to 0.11. Takedown accuracy, negligible. Takedown defense, kind of leaning here towards Holloway. And submissions, pretty much dead even. This will probably be the best fight on the entire card. I think everything is just so evenly matched up. Holloway going in there, pounding. It's going to be an interesting first round if nothing else. I don't think he's going to get the knockout. I think it will be a really interesting war of attrition. I think this is one of those fights where Stephens is going to try to get the takedown, but he's just not going to get it. And I don't know. I just got Holloway winning this one. I think he wins pretty flat out unanimous decision. Not much to say about that one. Okay, like I said, that's the main card. But I will do the Uriah Faber. Let's see if there's anything else going on here. Court McGee, John. No, nobody cares. Yeah, the Uriah Faber fight taking on Frankie Sands. I've never heard of Frankie Sands before. Who is this guy? But in case you wanted to know, 32-8 record for Faber, 11-2 for Frankie. Height average, yeah, no difference. Okay, these are pretty much all identical as far as height, age. Nothing really standing out as a variable. Frankie is landing more strikes per minute, 4.24 to 2.6 for Faber. Striking accuracy, though, is pretty much dead even. Strikes absorbed per minute, about 2.5 for each guy's dead even. Better defense Faber, 65% to 50%. Grappling, Sands landing 3 takedowns per fight, 1.5 for Faber. Takedown accuracy, 47% favors Frankie. Takedown defense, once again, a slight advantage for Frankie. But Uriah Faber has more submissions per fight. He's averaging about 1 per 15 minutes in the octagon. So yeah, Faber is coming off the loss to Edgar, and this other guy, he's got 3 wins in a row. I'm gonna go with Faber just because he's Faber. He's got the submissions. He's even as an older fighter. I mean, he's still got some moves, and I think he wins this one. Second round submission guillotine choke. No real reason, but just what I'm kind of thinking. So there you go. Those are my predictions for UFC 194. To recap, I got Aldo over McGregor, Weidman over Rockhold, Jacare over Romero, Mai over Nelson, Holloway over Stevens, and Faber over Frankie Sands. And if you're wondering who's going to win between Leonardo Santos and Kevin Lee and Joe Proctor and Magomed Mustafayev, nobody, because nobody cares. But yeah, the main event, actually, like pretty much all the fights on the main card look absolutely outstanding. I'm not sure if I'll go out and see it, but I'm going to make my best efforts. But should be a really good show no matter what. So great way to end out the year. And I'll be seeing you a whole lot more as far as MMA stuff goes in 2016. So to recap, good old Johnny Gomez and Nick Diamond, good fight and good night.